Josh Gates just walked away from Expedition X. No warning, no explanation to fans, just a cryptic statement about prioritizing his safety and his family. And now rumors are circulating about what might have happened during their most recent filming expedition. Reports of an incident involving a Bigfoot-like creature in the Pacific Northwest, claims that something left the most fearless explorer on television genuinely shaken. Now let's be clear, nothing is confirmed at this moment. Discovery hasn't released official details. The crew is staying silent, but alleged insider sources have been sharing details that, if true, would explain everything. Subscribe and hit the bell because we're breaking down every rumor, alleged detail, and claimed insider account about what may have happened during that expedition. According to circulating rumors, it happened 3 weeks ago during what was supposed to be a standard Expedition X investigation. The team was allegedly filming in a remote area of Washington state, following up on recent Bigfoot sightings reported by local forestry workers. Multiple witnesses, consistent descriptions, fresh footprints documented by credible sources. Exactly the kind of case Josh has built his career investigating. Claims suggest the team consisted of Josh, his co-host Jessica Chobot, Phil Torres, and a production crew of 8 people. They'd reportedly set up base camp in a valley known for decades of Sasquatch activity. By all alleged accounts, the first 2 days were productive but unremarkable. Footprints supposedly found and documented, strange vocalizations allegedly recorded at distance. Then came the third night. According to unverified sources, Josh and Phil decided to investigate an area about 2 miles from base camp where thermal drones had allegedly detected heat signatures. Jessica reportedly stayed behind to monitor equipment. The plan was supposedly simple: hike in, document whatever they found, return by midnight. Rumor has it they never made it to midnight. At 10:47 p.m., base camp allegedly received a frantic radio transmission from Josh. The audio was reportedly chaotic. Claims suggest certain words came through: contact, close, moving fast, Phil's injured. Then the transmission allegedly cut to static. When communication supposedly resumed, Josh's voice was different, shaken, urgent, allegedly calling for immediate evacuation. According to these reports, the production coordinator sent the entire crew to extract Josh and Phil. What they allegedly found was equipment scattered, Phil on the ground with what's claimed to be a head wound, and Josh standing guard, reportedly refusing to move until the entire group was together. But here's where the rumors get interesting. The cameras were allegedly still rolling. Everything that supposedly happened was reportedly captured on multiple devices. And what those cameras allegedly captured, according to anonymous sources claiming to have seen footage, would be the most compelling Bigfoot evidence ever recorded, if true, if any of this actually happened. And these rumors suggest Josh Gates, a man who's spent 2 decades exploring over 100 countries, investigating everything from lost treasures to paranormal phenomena, decided he's done. Not with television, not with exploration, but allegedly with putting himself in situations where he might encounter something like what was reportedly in those woods, because according to these unconfirmed claims, whatever he supposedly saw wasn't a mystery to be solved. It was a threat to be survived. We need to be clear, we haven't seen this footage ourselves. Discovery allegedly has it locked down tight, but we've heard from sources claiming to have viewed it, and their descriptions, if accurate, are disturbing. What follows is based on those unconfirmed accounts. The footage allegedly begins normally, Josh and Phil hiking through dense forest at night, standard narration, Phil supposedly scanning with thermal imaging. Around the 18-minute mark, Phil allegedly gets a thermal hit, something large, approximately 400 yards ahead. They reportedly discuss approaching, and Josh makes the decision to close the gap carefully. As they allegedly get closer, the thermal signature supposedly becomes clearer, upright, bipedal. At approximately 200 yards, sources claim the figure stops and turns toward them, not slowly, but deliberately. Phil allegedly says, "I think it knows we're here." Josh's rumored response, "Good, let's see if it'll show itself." This is allegedly when things go wrong. Instead of fleeing, the thermal signature reportedly begins approaching them fast. Sources describe the speed as terrifying given the dense terrain. Josh supposedly makes the call to back out immediately. They start retreating, but the figure allegedly keeps gaining ground. Then comes what sources describe as a vocalization, allegedly loud, complex, and close. Both men visibly react according to claims, stopping their retreat. In those seconds, the gap supposedly closes to within 50 yards. Then, according to reports, an object flies past Josh's head. A rock, later identified as approximately softball-sized, allegedly impacts a tree with enough force to embed in the bark. Both men allegedly go to ground, and sources claim that with cameras at ground level, they capture something. All 3 sources describe this the same way, if their accounts are true. Clear footage for approximately 4 to 5 seconds, not thermal. Direct view, illuminated by camera lights, of something large, covered in reddish-brown hair, with a face showing features that allegedly don't match any known primate, and eyes that supposedly reflect the camera light. The figure then allegedly moves laterally, circling their position. Phil supposedly tries to track it with thermal. Josh is reportedly reaching for rocks. The circling continues for 30-40 seconds according to claims. Then another rock, allegedly larger, comes from a different direction. It reportedly strikes Phil on the side of the head, dropping him immediately. Josh allegedly goes to Phil and makes the radio call for help, while the thermal camera supposedly still shows that massive heat signature maintaining position, watching them. The standoff allegedly continues for nearly 2 minutes before the figure moves away, but thermal signatures reportedly remain at the edge of detection range, as if it was watching to ensure they left. Phil Torres required immediate medical attention. The rock that struck him left a laceration that needed 12 stitches and caused a concussion significant enough that he was hospitalized overnight for observation. But it's not the severity of the injury that's remarkable, it's the circumstances and the projectile itself. The rock was recovered from the scene, a smooth river stone weighing approximately 4 pounds, the kind of rock you'd find in a riverbed, not typically lying around on a forest floor, which raises an immediate question: where did it come from? Wildlife doesn't carry rocks. Bears don't throw objects. The presence of that specific type of stone in that location suggests it was brought there deliberately, but more concerning is the throwing mechanics required to cause the injury Phil sustained. A biomechanics expert consulted by the production estimated that to throw a 4-pound rock with enough force to cause that level of injury from a distance of approximately 40-50 feet requires strength beyond normal human capability. The throwing motion would also need to be coordinated and aimed, not a random toss. Rock throwing is actually well documented in Bigfoot encounter reports. It's considered a signature behavior, territorial warning behavior reported consistently across different geographic regions and different time periods. Researchers theorize it serves as a way to establish dominance and warn intruders without direct physical confrontation. The fact that Phil was injured by a thrown rock fits perfectly into established Bigfoot behavioral patterns. Phil's medical records document the injury, but the official incident report filed with Discovery Channel is deliberately vague about the cause. It states he was struck by a falling object during nighttime investigation in rough terrain. No mention of the rock being thrown, no reference to the encounter, just carefully worded language designed to minimize liability while technically being truthful. Phil himself has been completely silent about the incident. He hasn't posted on social media about Expedition X since it happened. When reached by fans asking about the injury, his responses have been vague. Accident during filming, recovering well, thanks for the concern. The kind of responses that say nothing while appearing to say something. But sources close to Phil say he's struggling with what happened. Not just physically, the concussion symptoms resolved within a week, but psychologically. Phil is a scientist. He's an entomologist and biologist who approaches investigations with academic rigor, having an experience that defies his scientific understanding of what's possible in North American wilderness has been profoundly disorienting. The injury serves as physical proof that something happened. Medical records don't lie. A 4-pound river stone embedded in the bark of a tree doesn't appear by accident, and Phil's concussion isn't a psychological reaction or misperception. Something with significant strength threw a heavy object with enough accuracy and force to injure a human being. That's not folklore. That's documented fact. Phil Torres allegedly required immediate medical attention. According to claims, the rock that struck him left a laceration requiring 12 stitches and caused a concussion significant enough for overnight hospitalization. But reports suggest it's not the severity that's remarkable, it's the circumstances and the projectile itself. The rock was supposedly recovered from the scene. Sources describe it as a smooth river stone weighing approximately 4 pounds, the kind you'd find in a riverbed, not typically on a forest floor, which allegedly raises an immediate question: where did it come from? Wildlife doesn't carry rocks. Bears don't throw objects. But according to rumors, what's more concerning is the throwing mechanics required. A biomechanics expert allegedly consulted by production estimated that throwing a 4-pound rock with enough force to cause Phil's injury from 40-50 feet requires strength beyond normal human capability. The throw would also need to be coordinated and aimed, not random. Rock throwing is actually well documented in Bigfoot encounter reports, researchers note. It's considered signature territorial behavior reported consistently across different regions and time periods. If true, the fact that Phil was injured by a thrown rock fits perfectly into established Bigfoot behavioral patterns that have been claimed for decades. Phil's alleged medical records document the injury, but sources claim the official incident report filed with Discovery is deliberately vague. It supposedly states he was struck by a falling object during nighttime investigation in rough terrain. No mention of throwing, no reference to any encounter, just carefully worded language designed to minimize liability. According to circulating reports, the rescue team that responded consisted of Jessica Chobot, 3 camera operators, 2 producers, and the production coordinator. 8 people total, and rumors suggest every single one of them allegedly saw something during the extraction. As they supposedly approached Josh and Phil's location, claims suggest they began hearing vocalizations, not the single scream from the initial encounter, but ongoing calls that seemed to come from multiple directions. Sources describe it as if they were being tracked by more than one individual, coordinating movements around them. Jessica, allegedly leading the group, reportedly made the decision to keep everyone together in tight formation. They moved as a unit, lights sweeping the forest, and according to claims, multiple cameras captured heat signatures on thermal, not just one, at least 3 distinct figures visible at various points during the hike. When they supposedly reached Josh and Phil, thermal cameras allegedly showed something disturbing. The signatures that had been tracking the rescue party had converged on their position. They were surrounded, according to reports, not closely but in a clear pattern around their location. The production coordinator allegedly made an immediate decision: extract and evacuate. No investigating. They helped fill up and started back, and claims suggest those thermal signatures paced them the entire way back, maintaining distance but clearly following. Multiple crew members allegedly reported seeing eyeshine, eyes catching light at distances and heights that suggested something large. Not deer, not bears, something else watching them leave, if these accounts are to be believed. One camera operator, supposedly speaking anonymously, described it as the most frightening experience in 15 years of filming. Not individual moments, but the totality, the coordinated behavior, the persistent following, the sense that they were being allowed to leave rather than escape. Josh Gates has been remarkably quiet about his specific reasons for leaving Expedition X. His official statement was brief: "After much consideration, I've decided to step away from Expedition X to focus on other projects and spend more time with my family." Standard departure language that reveals nothing. But according to rumors, people close to Josh tell a different story. The alleged Washington State incident supposedly shook him in ways previous close calls never did. Reports suggest he keeps asking, what if Phil had been killed? The rock that allegedly struck him could have hit differently, could have caused a fatal injury. And Josh has 2 young children at home, a wife who reportedly worries every time he goes on expedition. Claims suggest there's also a philosophical component. If Bigfoot exists, these rumors say, it's not just an exciting discovery, it's potentially a predator, a territorial animal with capabilities that make it genuinely dangerous. And sources allege Josh realized that chasing that mystery isn't adventure anymore. It's risk he's supposedly no longer willing to take. According to these unconfirmed reports, Josh isn't retiring from television or exploration. He's allegedly still hosting Expedition Unknown, which focuses on historical mysteries and archaeological investigations. But claims suggest he's done with active paranormal investigation that involves going into remote areas looking for creatures that might pose serious threats. If these rumors are accurate, Discovery Channel allegedly finds itself in an unprecedented situation. They supposedly have footage that would generate massive ratings, clear documentation of a Bigfoot encounter involving their most recognizable host. From a business perspective, airing this would allegedly be a ratings goldmine, but according to claims, they also have a serious liability problem. One crew member was allegedly injured seriously enough to require hospitalization. If they air footage explicitly confirming their crew was attacked by an unknown creature, sources suggest they open themselves to questions about duty of care and safety protocols. Insurance is supposedly another consideration. Production insurance for adventure shows already comes with significant premiums. If insurers allegedly determine Discovery knowingly sent crews into dangerous situations, it could affect coverage not just for Expedition X, but for their entire slate of adventure programming, according to industry observers. Then there's allegedly the question of responsibility. If Discovery airs footage they believe genuinely documents a Bigfoot encounter, they're essentially taking a position that Bigfoot exists. According to speculation, that carries implications beyond ratings, potentially triggering scientific investigation or government inquiries. Sources claim the network has been in discussions with wildlife experts, legal counsel, and possibly even government agencies. Some executives allegedly push to air it, while others advocate for keeping it archived. A compromise position supposedly being discussed involves releasing heavily edited footage with extensive disclaimers. But Josh's decision to quit allegedly complicates everything. If Discovery airs the episode after Josh left citing safety concerns, it creates a narrative that the network prioritized ratings over host safety, according to media analysts. Josh's departure supposedly gives him leverage in how this footage might be presented. The current status, according to rumors, is that Discovery has delayed the entire season. The official explanation is production schedule adjustments, but speculation suggests they're buying time to figure out how to handle this alleged episode and what it means for the show's future. As of now, if this footage exists, it allegedly remains in Discovery's possession, unaired and inaccessible. According to claims, multiple parties have requested access. Bigfoot researchers have supposedly offered to sign NDAs. Scientists have allegedly expressed interest in analyzing the thermal imaging. Even government wildlife agencies have reportedly inquired. Discovery has allegedly refused all requests. The official position, according to sources, is that any footage is part of ongoing production. But rumors suggest the network simply hasn't decided what to do with it. Legal counsel is supposedly advising caution while executives weigh risks and benefits. Some researchers allegedly argue Discovery has a moral obligation to release footage this significant if it exists and is as compelling as claimed. Keeping it suppressed would prioritize corporate liability over potential scientific advancement. But the counter-argument is that Discovery owns any footage and has every right to make business decisions about release. There's also supposedly the question of physical evidence. The rocks allegedly thrown were reportedly collected. Phil's medical records supposedly document injuries from a thrown object. Crew members allegedly provided statement. All of this evidence would exist independent of video footage, but without Discovery releasing it to researchers, it remains isolated and unverifiable, according to claim. Leaks are theoretically possible. If the footage exists on multiple hard drives and has been viewed by numerous people, someone could potentially release it anonymously, though doing so would likely end their career and could expose them to legal consequences. But speculation suggests the temptation must be significant for people who believe this could change how science views Bigfoot. The most likely outcome, according to industry observers, is that Discovery will eventually air a heavily edited version. They'd allegedly include enough to acknowledge something happened while carefully editing around the most explicit sequences. Expert analysts would provide alternative explanations. Disclaimers would emphasize the unusual nature of the incident. Let's be absolutely clear about what we know for certain. Josh Gates has left Expedition X. That's confirmed. Phil Torres was allegedly injured during filming. That appears to be true based on his absence from social media and project schedules. Discovery has delayed the season. Also confirmed. Everything else, the details of the encounter, the footage descriptions, the crew reactions, remains unverified rumor and speculation. But rumors this consistent from multiple alleged sources suggest something significant happened. Whether it was exactly as described, we can't say. Whether footage as compelling as claimed actually exists, we don't know. But Josh's departure from a successful show speaks volumes. People don't walk away from careers like his without serious reasons. If even half of these rumors prove true, it represents a fundamental shift in paranormal investigation, from entertainment to genuine risk, from mystery to potential danger. The footage may eventually air, the full story may eventually be told, or this may remain one of television's most intriguing unsolved mysteries, whispered about but never fully confirmed. For now, we're left with questions. What really happened in those Washington woods? What did the cameras actually capture? And why did Josh Gates, one of television's most fearless explorers, decide some mysteries aren't worth solving? Until Discovery releases official information or Josh breaks his silence, we can only piece together the rumors and wonder what truth they might contain. Sometimes the most compelling evidence is what people choose not to show you.